Today we discuss Dalton Kincaid, a talented tight end who stands out for his exceptional receiving skills, versatility as a slot receiver, and precise route running. Buffalo needs a wide receiver to complement Stephon Diggs. Could Kincaid be that receiver? We'll discuss next on Draft Brothers. All right, welcome to the Draft Brothers podcast, powered by Champions Round, where we discuss all things NFL and fantasy football. Thanks for joining us. I am your host, Jeff Hasley, and I'm joined by my draft brother, Dan Turner. And today we're going to dive into the rookie profile of Dalton Kincaid of the Buffalo Bills. And we welcome back to the show Jeff Bell of FootballGuys.com, as well as the co-host of the Devy Royale podcast. He's also a huge Bills fan with his ear to the ground on all things Bills. Jeff is going to share his thoughts on how Kincaid's presence adds a new dimension to the Bills' offense. Jeff, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. And like I said, anytime I can go on with you guys, I definitely take the opportunity. You're both two of my favorite people in the fantasy football space and just in life in general. So thank you so much for reaching out. And I'm very happy to be here to talk about the Bills, especially.
We love you too, Jeff.
Yeah, high praise there. Thank you. and it goes right back to you, sir. Before we continue, please be sure to check out our other videos in our rookie profile series. And if you like this type of content, consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. And let us know in the comments what your predictions are for Dalton Kincaid's rookie season. So, what are your thoughts there? Let's get to it, guys. All right, there's a lot to talk about with Dalton Kincaid. What do we know about him? Let's just start us off here. He's 6'4", 247 pounds. He went to Utah, where he helped lead the Utes to 2 consecutive Rose Bowls. He was selected 25th overall in the 2023 NFL Draft. He's a little older than most rookies. He'll be 24 in October, but he has exceptional receiving abilities and versatility in the offense. His footwork is impressive, which helps him gain separation and further enhance his ability to get open. So, Jeff, going back to the draft, the 20th pick is on the board. Seattle is that pick. No wide receivers, no tight ends have been selected yet. You're Buffalo. You're thinking, oh, man, I'm going to get maybe a complimentary receiver to Diggs here, or at worst, perhaps a tight end. I know they were looking at Kincaid. They wound up having, 4 consecutive wide receivers selected, 20, 21, 22, 23. They jumped ahead of Dallas to make the selection of Dalton Kincaid. How did you feel when that all went down? And is that a move that you are pleased with, I guess, should we say?
So seeing the draft play out and seeing the receiver still on the board, I was starting to I wasn't quite pounding the table, but I was wanting them to go up and get one of those wide receivers, especially you see Jackson Smith and Jigba dropping to 20. That would have been, I think, ideal if the Bills had gone up and gotten him at pick 18, 19 and move ahead of Seattle. And then I think it was the type of thing where once he went, then they all kind of rapid fire went. And I think all the teams were kind of circling on there. And everybody in the draft says that they did not expect the player to be on the board that they are able to get. But in the way those wide receivers ran off, I mean, you can definitely see a scenario where those teams had those players graded and they weren't going to move out because they knew they were coming off the board at that point, preventing Buffalo from moving up to get in. Getting Kincaid, it was glass half full, because I definitely wanted one of those wide receivers. I wanted to walk out of this draft with a receiver to add to the talent upgrade on that Buffalo offense. I think that when you stack them up against Cincinnati and Kansas City, those are the 2 measuring sticks in the AFC right now. And Cincinnati's got those 2 young wide receivers. They're set for however long they can keep them together. Kansas City doesn't have a problem. They have Patrick Mahomes. They can roll out anybody they want to, and they're going to not have a problem on offense. And so it was a little bit disappointing not seeing one of the wide receivers. Then Kincaid came in, and immediately my mind flashed to, well, this is a player that they can use in the slot. This is a player that can give them a 12 personnel, give them different looks. And that's where it really comes down to for the Bills, because last year they brought in O.J. Howard. They wanted to play more 12 personnel. They said they wanted to do that. He wasn't able to make the roster out of camp, and they were really put in a position where they weren't able to do that. So they had to reset and kind of go with that. And Kincaid, long term, I think definitively it sets them up to do that.
So you like the move, kind of looking back at it, wishing that you had the receiver, but you can see how there could be some progress made with Kincaid out of the slot, being a receiver who is going to see the field in addition to Knox, right? Dawson Knox.
Yes, I do. So I'm a big tight end fan, and I really like 12 personnel and what that can give you. I mean, we've all been football fans long enough to remember those Patriots offenses from about 10 years ago when they had Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez running those two tight ends. And so I've wanted NFL offenses to do some of that for a long time. And so seeing the Bills step in there and outside of Dawson, I mean, Dawson Knox has been about the best tight end this franchise has had since, Pete Matzelaars, even before that. I mean, this is a franchise that has not had tight ends. And so to add Kincaid and a player of his upside at that position is a player that I'm really excited about.
And Dan, you had a question about Kincaid and his consistency?
Yes. Basically, can Kincaid be a consistent option, basically as soon as this year? I know you said, you had Knox. They want to do more 12 personnel sets, but they also have, other receivers to account for, Gabe Davis, Khalil Shakir, they got last year. Is Kincaid good enough to get on the field early and make an impact?
From OTAs, it seems like he is. It seems like he's been out there. I just read today that he had a great catch down the middle, down the seam, going up and getting the ball from Josh Allen. So I think the potential's there. I think what he's going to be asked to do is going to be hard. I believe as a rookie, he's kind of moving position a little bit, moving out of kind of that natural. He's not going to be an inline tight end a ton. I don't expect. I think his functional strength, I don't know that it holds up to that position. And I think that you're going to want what the Bills have done the last 2 years is they've really used Diggs, Knox, and Gabe Davis as base personnel. They almost never leave the field. Then they've kind of used that extra position outside of the starting running back to cycle through either Reggie Gillum as a fullback or Quentin Morris a little bit as a 12 personnel tight end, or having Isaiah McKenzie out there, having Jamison Crowder, having Cole Beasley, those types of natural slot receivers. And so it's like they've had their core four guys more or less, and then use that last position as an interchangeable piece. And as Kincaid develops, I think he could be that piece long term. And really, ideally, if he develops the way that you want him to, you can go with that base personnel. You're not switching players out, and you're giving defenses different looks. And I think that ultimately that's what a lot of defenses would like to do, or offenses would like to do at the NFL level, to go with base personnel, go with 12 formation with a tight end that you can split out wide, that you can use in the slot, and be able to play heavy sets or be able to play spread sets just using those same four players and the running back in addition to the core.
So, Jeff, with Kincaid, let's say operating out of the slot, exactly how does that transform the offense? Taking another step towards that level of competition, that you mentioned that Kansas City and Cincinnati has. What do you see happening as a result of Kincaid's presence in that slot?
So they're going to be able to play more physically, I would expect. And that goes along with the addition of Osiris Torrance in the second round, that big offensive guard. And I think when you watch the game against Cincinnati, they really got pushed around on offense in that you don't expect Cincinnati to have a defense that's able to do that. But they went into Orchard Park, into the Bill Stadium, and really set the physical tone. And so I think that what they're going to be able to do, if they can go with more base 12 personnel, play a little bit more physical, have more of a mauling guard, have more power, but then also spread the defense out. So essentially, I think what you want to do ideally is you want to get the defense to play heavier personnel to match up to that. And then all of a sudden you just spread everybody out, and then you allow Josh Allen and James Cook to operate in space and with bigger defenders that struggle in those types of areas. And so I think long-term, I think ideally that's the goal of what they want to see out of this offense.
So if I had to ask you to put your fantasy hat on, Jeff, and I'm not even sure if you ever took it off, but what would be your expectation for Kincaid this year going beyond? Is he a fantasy commodity that you're looking to target? Would you recommend people to target Kincaid as someone who could help out this year? Or is he more of a dynasty presence, looking into the future?
I think he's more of a dynasty presence That said, I think that there is definitely opening here where he could emerge as the second wide receiver even this year, because I think there's some inconsistencies, some concerns in Gabe Davis's game, and I think that they tried to stretch Davis out last year, and I think he really struggled in that role, and I think they want to keep him as that field stretcher. I think Dawson Knox, I think they wanted to try a little bit to make him more of a primary option last year, and he struggled early. He got better as the season went on, but I think that they're in year 5 now in his career, and I think we kind of have a good idea what he's going to be. So I think that you can make the case with Stephon Diggs being the primary receiver and just enough spread out, because I do expect James Cook to be very involved in the passing game, enough spread out that there's not really that second option that you want in the offense. But at the same time, if it gets targeted into Kincaid's direction, if he develops like you're hoping to, it's a tight end. And that's a cheat code. If you've got a Josh Allen-led offense, a big passing volume offense with a tight end that's a primary receiving option, I mean, that breaks fantasy leagues.
Yeah, it's their version of Travis Kelce.
That's
what you can all hope for. Dan, did you have any follow-up question at all? Anything else?
Do you think that Kincaid's lacking as a run blocker would be a detriment to him getting on the field in any way?
No, I think that they're going to build that in. I think what's going to be a detriment to get him on the field is, it's like I said, having those base personnel, having Diggs, Knox, and Gabe Davis as kind of your base 3 guys that are always out there. And then when you look at Kincaid, you look at Khalil Shakir, and you look at Deontay Hardy, and the 3 of those guys bring very, very different packages. And so I think if you're leaving Davis, Knox, and Diggs out on the field at all times, bringing those other players in to kind of dictate the personnel that you're type of running, the offense that you're running, I think is going to be a big detriment. As he develops long term, I think that will go away, but his rookie year, I do expect them to be a little bit more situationally packaged.
All right, well, that's our rookie profile on Dalton Kincaid. It sounds like he is more or less a dynasty play as opposed to someone who could be productive and a healthy commodity for your roster and redraft for this year. But we like what the future brings for him. And of course, with a high scoring offense like Buffalo, sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate you sharing your expertise and insights on the Bills and Dalton Kincaid's outlook. And everybody, we value your support. Your feedback means a lot to us, and it helps our channel. Let us know your predictions for Dalton Kincaid in the comments. And we've got more rookie profile videos in the works. So stay tuned for further updates in our ongoing rookie profile series. Your entertainment is our passion. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.